At the beginning of the 1977 academic session at the University of Benin, tensions started to brew between the pirate confraternity and a small, tight-knit group of students within the university. This group, which was made up of about 6 individuals, included some who would later become well-known figures on campus. There was Nicholas Idemudia, a passionate and fiery young man, Obu Efe, who was known for his sharp intellect, Obu the Dreaded, whose reputation alone could silence a room, Botsi Bageda, a quiet yet formidable presence, and IBM Godidi, who was often referred to as the saddest due to his melancholic demeanor. At this point, the group was nothing more than a collection of students with no real corporate identity, no formal structure, and no purpose other than their shared desire for change. Meanwhile, the pirate confraternity, the most dominant group on campus, found themselves in conflict not only with this small group of 6 students but also with another, much larger faction. This second group, numbering over 10 students, was made up of individuals who were, in some cases, already members of the pirate confraternity but had begun to rebel against the very organization they once pledged loyalty to. Among these rebels were 2 notable figures, the Fire, whose explosive energy and unpredictability made him a force to be reckoned with, and Otto the Butcher, a fearsome individual with a reputation for being ruthless in his actions. This second group was led by a man known as Toxby, a gentle but determined individual who believed in the power of unity and collective action. The conflict between these 2 groups, the pirate confraternity and the rebel students led by Toxby, was not just about power or control, it was about setting the stage for something bigger, something that would shake the foundation of the university. While these groups were still in their early stages of formation, it was clear that they were laying the groundwork for a significant change in the university's culture. For Nicholas, this was just the beginning of something much greater. He was a man of purpose, and his determination to build a group capable of challenging the might of the pirate confraternity burned inside him. He knew that in order to stand a chance against such a dominant force, he needed to recruit like-minded individuals who were ready to join him in this cause. Nicholas kept a sharp eye out for students who, like him, were frustrated with the status quo and willing to challenge their existing powers. It was in this search that he encountered the Fire, one of the rebel students from the second group. Through his interaction with the Fire, Nicholas learned more about the growing dissatisfaction within the ranks of the pirate confraternity, and the idea of forming a more organized and unified group began to take shape. But Nicholas knew that he needed more than just a handful of disillusioned students. He needed a movement, one that would stand tall and proud against the pirates. And so, his search for fellow rebels continued. In time, Nicholas met a few other students who shared his vision. Some of them were members of a palm wine drinkers club, an informal group that bonded over their shared love of the drink and the simpler pleasures of life. These individuals, including Warrior Zoko, Holy Pagan, and Koro, were eager to join Nicholas' cause, but they had one condition. They wanted to see their own dream come to life as well, specifically a campus magazine that would serve as a voice for students who had been silenced for too long. Nicholas agreed, and so the plan to create a powerful new faction began to take form. The idea of a new group was taking shape in Nicholas' mind. He had a vision, one that would not only challenge the pirate confraternity but would also have a lasting impact on the university. His initial plan was to reach out to the buccaneers at the University of Ibadan with the goal of setting up a buccaneer deck in Benin. If that failed, he would establish a new brotherhood modeled after the buccaneers, a group that would rival the pirates in every way. Nicholas envisioned a confraternity that would be known as the Brotherhood of the Baraccans. The Baraccans, named after a fierce and notorious group of sailors who had terrorized the Aegean Sea centuries ago, would be a force to reckon with. The name, Baraccans, wasn't chosen by accident. Nicholas wanted his group to be feared and respected, and in his eyes, if the pirates were tough sea dogs, then his group had to be even tougher. He envisioned them as Vikings, individuals who would sail through any storm with strength and resolve, never backing down from a challenge. Nicholas' ambition was to create a group that would rival the pirate confraternity in every sense, not just in strength, but in intellect, unity, and purpose. His idea was to create a confraternity that would not just fight for survival but would dominate the campus with an undeniable presence. In his mind, the Baraccans would be more than just a group, they would be a movement, a symbol of resistance, a new era on campus. As the days passed, Nicholas and his growing group of supporters continued to refine their plan, each step bringing them closer to the realization of their dream. But Nicholas knew that the road ahead would be long and filled with obstacles. He was determined to see it through, no matter what it took. This was more than just a rebellion, it was the birth of something that would change the University of Benin forever. Nicholas's ideas, while ambitious and driven by a desire to create something new, weren't fully embraced by all of his co-founders. Many of the students he had convinced to join the movement, particularly those from the second group, had reservations about the direction he wanted to take. They weren't fully on board with the marine-inspired ideology that Nicholas had originally proposed, which mirrored the pirate-like concepts of the pirates and the buccaneers. To these students, the idea of modeling their group after sailors and sea warriors seemed too similar to what the pirates already represented. They wanted something fresh, something that would stand apart from the existing groups and be more unique to their cause. It was clear to them that Nicholas's original vision, while passionate, needed to be altered to reflect the collective will of the group, rather than just the vision of one person. This disagreement forced Nicholas to reconsider his stance. The names he had once proposed, like the Brotherhood of the Baracons and the Vikings, were eventually dropped, replaced by a new concept, the Axemen. The term was born out of Nicholas's earlier description of Vikings fighting with axes, which made it a fitting symbol for the group's newfound identity. A meeting was called to bring everyone together and discuss these changes. Nicholas, ever the passionate leader, invited all the students who believed in the movement to his room on Econ campus. The meeting was held with a mix of excitement and tension in the air. Each person in that room knew that the decision they were about to make would shape the future of this new group, but there was still a lot of uncertainty. Nicholas, still the youngest among them, felt the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. The older students in the room, though supportive of the movement, didn't want the whole concept to be seen as coming from him alone. They didn't want Nicholas to carry the entire burden of creating this new confraternity. They wanted the group to be a collective effort, with input and contributions from everyone, rather than just one person's ideology. For Nicholas, this was a difficult moment. His vision for the confraternity was deeply personal. He had always seen it as a brotherhood modeled after sailors, tough, resilient, and fiercely independent. But the older students made it clear that for this movement to succeed, it couldn't be a single person's creation. It had to be a group effort, with all voices heard and valued. Although it was a blow to his pride, Nicholas understood the importance of unity and cooperation. He didn't want to divide the movement before it even started, so he agreed to their suggestions, putting aside his original ideas for the sake of the greater good. He knew that if the confraternity was going to have a lasting impact, it couldn't be built on the foundation of one person's will, it needed to be something all members could stand behind and feel ownership of. The meeting, which had started with tension and differences of opinion, ended with a shared sense of purpose. After a long and at times heated discussion, the group finally settled on a new name, the Black Axe. The name was chosen for its strength, its symbolism, and its connection to both Nicholas's original idea of the Vikings and the discussions about Blackism that had taken place in the room. Toxby, who had led the second group of rebel students, was particularly vocal about the idea of Blackism. He spoke passionately about the need for the confraternity to be a defense and protector of the black man. This idea resonated deeply with everyone in the room, including Nicholas, who saw the value in incorporating this broader, more inclusive purpose into the movement. Toxby's influence was significant, and his vision for the confraternity's role extended beyond the campus. He made it clear that they would not just be a group focused on internal power struggles or campus politics, they would also stand in defense of the black community, both on and off the campus. It was a bold and far-reaching vision that brought new depth to the movement. As discussions continued, it became clear that the Black Axe would be a unique entity, a confraternity with both internal and external missions. It would stand as a symbol of strength, unity, and protection, not just for the students at the University of Benin, but for the broader black community. The meeting also addressed the issue of the pirates, who had been a source of tension and conflict. It was decided that the Black Axe would act as a counterforce to the pirates, keeping them in check and ensuring that they didn't overstep their bounds. Toxby gave the pirates a new nickname, the Bats, a fitting label for a group that had always operated in the shadows. It was agreed that the Black Axe would be vigilant, watching the pirates closely and making sure they didn't dominate the campus. The Black Axe would serve as the watchdogs, monitoring the actions of the pirates and stepping in when necessary to maintain order and balance. One of the defining characteristics of the Black Axe, as discussed in the meeting, would be its secrecy. The group would operate in the shadows, using codes, signs, and secret rituals to communicate and maintain its discipline. Initiations, meetings at 00 hour, and a commitment to action and militancy would be central to their identity. They would be a group that moved with purpose, always looking out for each other and never revealing their true intentions to those who weren't part of the brotherhood. But their mission didn't stop at the university gates. The Black Axe was destined to be more than just a campus group. It would be a force for the defense and protection of the black man, a movement that would transcend the boundaries of the university and spread its influence far beyond. The protection of black people, the fight for their rights, and the defense of their dignity would become key pillars of the Black Axe's identity. The group's actions would always be geared towards protecting the interests of black people, whether that meant standing up to oppressive forces or providing a safe space for those in need. By the end of the meeting, Nicholas had learned a valuable lesson in leadership. His vision for the Black Axe, though altered, was still alive. And now, it was a vision that belonged to everyone in the room, not just him. It had become a collective effort, a united front that would stand strong against the forces that sought to divide them. As the meeting drew to a close, the group left with a renewed sense of purpose. The Black Axe was born, and it would rise with a force that no one could ignore. It was just the beginning, but the movement was already taking shape, strong, disciplined, and ready to make an impact.